Welcome everybody to JC Transformation Strategies. Welcome to our Sunday upliftment session. Thank you to everyone who's joining today. Thank you for the time, the energy, the sacrifice to watch me. I really appreciate all of the efforts. Okay, God bless you all. Also, I want to say a warm welcome to all our new subscribers out there. Thank you so much for joining JC Transformation Strategies. We appreciate you so dearly much. Okay, welcome to the family. And to those who have celebrated birthdays throughout this week, this was actually my dad's birthday throughout this week. Happy birthday, Daddy. All right. And anybody else who has celebrated their birthdays, happy birthday. God bless you. To those who have lost loved ones, my deepest condolences to you and the family. And if you're celebrating any sort of event, and even to make it for this week, whatever storms, challenges, physical, mental, spiritual, well done to you. Okay. Well done. So today, guys, we're going to be looking at the topic as you are not meant to follow someone else's journey. You are not meant to follow someone else's journey. And we're going to be touching grounds with that topic. We're also going to be looking at how to actually adapt healing, all right, change into your life, because maybe you have fallen into victim of that. Okay, so the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the Bible scripture, all right? Romans 12 verses 2, okay? And it says that don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So we thank God for his precious word. And also, guys, when we look at that scripture, because this is from a holy Bible, every Bible has different, you know, ways of describing the scripture. Other Bibles will say, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, when you are conformed, a lot of people need to understand, what does conform actually mean? Conform means like allowing the world to influence you, allowing the world's patterns and standards to become part of your thought pattern, your thinking pattern, and your standard and your way of life. Now, the issue is that, when something is repeated, it becomes a part of you. And when something becomes a part of you, it becomes your habits, from your habit to your behavior to your lifestyle. So it's very, very important that we understand that what are we allowing, what thought pattern is something that's repetitive in our minds. Okay? Now, back to today's story. We are talking about you are not meant to follow someone else's journey. This is something so crucial that a lot of mental health practitioners, psychologists, therapists, even coaches, they actually always implement on this, because a lot of our issues mentally sadly comes from comparison, because we always compare ourselves to other people. Now, when you compare yourself to someone else, that leads to doubting of you, doubting of your worth, doubting of your passion, your abilities, and everything. Okay, it also leads to frustration. You become more frustrated with yourself. You also become like stressed up, that actually leads to a burnout. So that burnout actually makes you feel exhausted. Why? Because you've actually reached a level where you just can't tolerate anything more, right? Now, for you to get out of this, right, there's a lot. But firstly, you need to know that if you are in a comparison trap. So let's say now you see somebody on your phone. You go on WhatsApp, you go on Facebook, you go on YouTube, and you know this person, all right? And you feel triggered, and you look at the statuses and you see that, hey, they're having a good vacation, they're having a good time. Why can't I do this? Why can't I have a good time? Why must I always see to kids, see to work, and etc.? Why can't I enjoy life? Yes, I'm getting paid, I'm getting a good salary, but I'm not enjoying life. And you start comparing yourself to that person that you saw. Worst of all, there's people that actually compare themselves to strangers who they don't even know. Like, even on a television, you don't even know this person, but you see this person is having the time of their life. Okay, even they could be even staying in your area, but you always see like updates about what they're doing and things like that, and they're having a good time going out for parties, being on the boat, having parties, etc. And that brings to you a lot of comparison. It brings to you a lot of envy, sadly, because you want it. You want to also live in that high shine place. I know what it is, okay? But the problem is the more you do this, the more you expose yourself to watching it, because your eyes are really, really powerful and they're so precious. They are one of your senses. Remember your eyes for sight, your nose that smell, your mouth that speak, and your ears that hears, and your hands that touch. Those are your senses. So when you do it, like let's say I touch something, basically it signals to my brain what it is. So let's say now I touch this book, right? So because I touched the book, even if I don't have to look at it, I know I touched it. And that basically brings a signal to my brain, this is book. Or when I look at things and I'm looking at the wall, it tells me straight away that is a wall. All right, that's our senses. So our senses are literally part of our brain that connects to the pathways of where we can distinguish what is this object, who is this person, etc. So when you see something on your phone, you know exactly like, hey, this is Mrs. A, and I know her, all right, and she's the one that's a show off. And immediately your brain classifies that person as a show off, okay? And you need to start rewiring that, all right? Because why actually even waste your energy on even distinguishing how people should be to your perspective, okay? So trust yourself. Trust yourself. You know now you're getting triggered by things you know that you have been comparing yourself. Okay? You've been comparing yourself even in terms of your career and all that stuff. I'm just gonna touch on that, right? Like examples of comparison is like you compare yourselves to other people's career. Let's say now you are entry level job and you compare yourself to let's say you are 35 years old, okay? All right, I'm just using an example. You're 35 years old and you're comparing yourself to the other 35 years old who's working as an accountant manager. He's also 35 years old, but you are an intern at 35, entry level job. So what happens now? You envy that person because you will say to yourself, we're the same age, maybe we have same qualifications. It's just that you came a little bit behind because in life now you had to sort out things, all right? You had challenges. You forget about all of that, right? But you're more focused on this now. How come he's at my age, same school, studied together, have same qualifications, maybe one off qualification, but yeah, and even like same race, but he's more higher than me. And all these thoughts come to you, isn't right? And then after that, you forget about what happened to you. You forget about what you faced, what challenges you faced, how you made it in life, how you defeated the world, how you defeated negative comments, how you persevered, you studied. You forget about all of that, but your main focus now is the comparison. And what happens? You miss out your present moment. You miss out life. The reason why you miss out life because you are so hooked up on the comparison thief of comparing your life journey to someone else. Right. Same thing happens with social media. We just explained how you can actually compare yourself and actually detriment your health by looking at somebody else's highlighted reels, fake, even fake images, guys. To tell you the truth, fake images. There's so much of people nowadays that actually put images nowadays, and sometimes I have to look 2, 3 times actually, if I do get the time, to actually see that this person is actually that person because most of the time they are not that. It's on like I'll actually classify it as unrealistic beauty, unrealistic images that's edited. And guys, we kind of fall into the trap of thinking that that is beauty standards. And I know it's so sad that sometimes when others actually classify that as beautiful, you feel bad and you actually put yourself down and you say like, hey, you know what, how come that person's skin is so clear and so pure, and I look at my skin, I have some marks and acne and etc., and you start comparing. And that's actually dangerous because that person's skin is not that clear. It's basically just makeup, or it's plastic surgery, or it's just filters that you get now in the apps that you can actually do photos. So there's a lot of things, right? But try and unmask that. Don't compare yourself to those people. If you're naturally beautiful the way you are, that's it. You shouldn't actually compare yourself to anyone, okay? Um, then the next comparison is physical appearance, which we actually just spoke about beauty standards. Now, physical appearance also, we can even talk about body weights as well, because a lot of people, they see on the phone, a lot of people are like posting things of, good looking bodies, are going to the gym, doing a workout, because, exercise is so vital. But what has happened is that a lot of people have made exercise has a comparison trap. So what happens is that the people are doing the exercise, but then they start posting the photos, they're posting the videos, and they're making other people think that, you know what, this is a standard of a good looking body. But some people are doing it the right way. Some people are showing the efforts, right? They're showing from where they started off, where they are now, and it's good to be proud of your body. But the problem is when you become too much of bragging, all right, too much of comparing, and they also like bringing other people down. So that's when comparison is part of your life. So don't compare yourself, guys. If you go on the internet now, if you go on YouTube, Facebook, and you even know these people or you don't know these people, and you see like where they started off and now they're in a good body shape, they're using a good attire, right? They have a good summer body, winter body, whatever body. But you don't need to compare yourself to that. You have your own timing, okay? You have your timing when you will get into shape, all right? The whole idea, guys, to tell you when it comes to physical appearance, it's not about just getting into shape, okay? I feel the importance is where your mind and your body gets into shape. So let's say now you have a good body, right? And you have like six abs, everything's just so toned up. Your muscle is just great. But if you are not mentally happy with what you have, even the body means nothing. So it's important to have your mind and body connection. All right. It's important that you like happy with what you have. All right. And to make sure that that I'm happy. The current stage that I am, I'm happy, I'm appreciated. Because to tell you the truth, I was also just reflecting on this. When I started gaining weight from the situation that I wasn't that much interested of having a good looking body. I was actually more like even just to have a little bit of fat because I had no fat. Okay, my visceral fat was literally sitting, I remember it was like 1 or 0.5. And it took time. Visceral fat, to those who don't know, is basically fat around your organs. So when I lost bodily fat, then I lost muscles. All right, I don't know which came first. Okay, I think maybe muscles came, then fats, but yeah, either way. And then the fat actually was being taken from my visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs. So once I've lost all of that, I was depleted of fat and muscles, and I could actually see like ribs and things like that. So I was more like more happy and more appreciative. I could just get some fat, even get some muscles, okay? But as we know, the muscles is more stronger than fat. So when I started getting muscles and then I started getting fat just a little, I was like so happy. And sometimes I think like a lot of people when they see fat, they get scared and they're like, you know what, I don't want this fat. I don't want these rolls of fat. But sometimes, you know what? You need to appreciate what you have because somebody else actually wants that roll of fat, even just a little, just to cover up the bones, to cover up, maybe everybody has different insecurities. So some people maybe they want a slimmer body, while others actually want a more curvy body, you know. So at the end of the day, appreciate what you have. Don't judge, okay? And don't have your fixed standard on I need to get this body shape. I need to be like this bodybuilder, or I need to have this type of beach body, or whatever. Because those are unrealistic expectations, which sometimes won't even get met. Okay? Because if you don't have a confident mind, even if you have that good body, it means nothing. Okay? You'll never even walk in confidence. So build yourself up mentally, physically, spiritually, and then after that, you decide, is this body worth having? And most of the time, when you go back, it's like you realize that you wasted your time worrying about all of that. So, yeah, the tips, guys, what I can say is that compare your current self. Just if you're really a person who likes to compare your current self to your past self. And the reason why I say that is that try to improve who you were yesterday. Okay, don't worry about comparing yourself to others. Don't worry about try to correct other people's behaviors, etc. What I suggest is that if you made a mistake yesterday, try and see how you can better yourself. Maybe you didn't do your exercises yesterday. Alright, you didn't lift your dumbbells 10 times a day. Try and do that today. At least lift it 5 times a day, or do it tomorrow. Things like that. Limit social media. It's a waste of time. Okay, at that time you can actually like work on your hobbies, work on yourself. Okay, work on things that actually brings value to you, not to somebody else. And then uncover hidden values. Okay, look at what values you have. What do you have to bring to this world? Okay, your talents, etc. All right, so don't be limited to who you are. Okay, be extra unlimited. Okay, just showcase who you are and showcase like what you can actually bring to the world, etc. Okay, then guys, remember that when you slowly start comparison and you slowly start doing this, and it actually becomes a habit to you, and you start comparing everything, okay, you actually become diminished. Your self-worth actually becomes diminished. And that is why most of our clients that we actually get in our sessions, most of them have self-esteem issues and self-confidence. And the first step, what I do is I try to boost the self-confidence before doing anything else. Because if you are not powerful, how can you inspire somebody else? How can you motivate someone else? Even if you lost yourself in the process, it'll be very hard for you to actually motivate your own kids. Okay, so remember that. Now we're gonna look at one story before we wrap up about comparison. All right, and we're gonna end off with that. And before we actually do end off, um, I want you to know that comparison is a thief of joy. So it doesn't need to be faded in your life. It doesn't need to be in your life forever. You can get rid of it, okay? But you need guidance on how to do it. So we're just gonna look at a story quickly. I'm gonna get back to you now, guys. Okay. So this is a story of an unhappy crow. So maybe you've heard about it, okay? But I want you to look at the lesson of it. So we're gonna be doing that story, okay? And it's gonna open up a lot to you to understand. And also that story will be on the shot. So I'm gonna create a shot on that story, okay? And you guys are going to listen to how the story of the unhappy crow is actually even using to daily life, okay? And how it actually affects the way you do things. So if you want to watch that story, please guys, you're gonna have to click on the shot. Okay, so the video on the story of the unhappy crow will be on a short video. All right, so you kindly click on that video, okay, and you watch the story. Please do click. I'm also going to try and link that video to this session that we did today. Okay, so we're going to close off today. And before I close off, I'm just going to say something very realistic. When you look at the sun and you look at the moon, this is a way, every time when you have that thought pattern of comparison, you're going to think of this. The sun and the moon, right? Do they look the same? No. Do they have physical appearance of the same? No. Do they have the same colors? No. Do they come up at the same time? No. Basically, the sun comes in the morning and then it gives time like around about 5 to 6 p.m. All right, depends on which country you are, etc., and the seasons. Then it goes down. The sunset goes down. Then the moon will come as soon as when it's dark. All right, it depends. You get half moon, you get full moon as well, right? But the sun and the moon cannot come at the same time. You will never see a moon coming around 10 a.m. when the sun is already pitched up. All right, neither can the sun pitch up like 9 p.m. All right, that basically shows you that we all have a different journey. We all shine at different times. We all look different. We all have different physical appearance. We all have different colors. Okay, and that is what makes us so special, because we all have different times that we come up, but we still bring about a light that shines. Okay, so continue shining, continue letting your light shine. Even if your light has not been shining for a while, the season will still come. Okay, and accept life as it is. Remember to accept life, accept people, and accept the world. That's three powerful things that you can overcome anything and bring about the calmness and change in your life. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before we close, let's do a breathing technique, all right? And a small affirmation. So right now, you're going to take a deep breath in, okay? Make sure your posture is right. And now you're going to breathe out. Well done. Now you're going to say, I choose me, I choose my path, and I will better myself. I choose me, I choose my path, and I will better myself. I forgive myself for comparing myself to others, and I forgive others. And then you just take a deep breath out. Well done. Okay, forgiveness is the first part to everything, okay? For yourself and for others. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Please do watch the shot and stay tuned to JesC Transformation Strategies. We'll see you guys next week, Thursday. Have a blessed week. Stay safe, stay special, stay the way you are, okay? Bye, guys.